it was not that great. For 7 years, I failed in network marketing. I tried company after company. I didn't have mentors. I didn't know how to plug people into systems. I didn't know to use third-party tools to where if my mouth was moving, I should point to something else so they're not looking at me. I didn't know any of the basics. And basics create wealth in network marketing. That's what duplicates. And so I got to the point, I said, I'll never do it again. I'm done. And for those that are just getting on, I said in about 7 years in network marketing, where I was a part of the NFL. I don't know if anybody else can appreciate or relate to this. I was a part of the NFL. The no friends left. they see me coming their way, they would run because I've been in so many different companies. So I had someone approach me in Toys R Us. They said, "Don't I know you?" And I'm like, "No, you don't know me. You're probably in a network marketing company." They go, "Yes, I am." And I said, "You all use the same line." And I told my wife when he walked away, if one more person approaches me, even if it's at church, I'm going to smack the taste out of their mouth. I am done. I'm going to lay hands on them. Now, I wasn't going to do that, but that's the way that I felt. I was very fortunate to have some mentors that came into my life like Jeff Olson, the millionaire maker himself. And I started learning from what he taught. When Jeff Olson says, look, why would you go out, spend your entire life trying to figure out what to do right to get to the end of your life and finally learn it when you could have read a book or listened to someone like on this Periscope and shave all of that time off of your life because they read it and they put it in a book. So you can shave all those years off of your learning curve. Or like Tony Robbins, when he read 700 books in 10 years, he said, I wanted to turn years into days. That's what he said. So when you get on these Periscopes, you're shaving years off of your learning curve, learning from what other people have done wrong, finally to learn what to do right. And that's what changed. And so then I learned some concepts. And I learned that you have to keep it very simple and very basic, because 80% of your business comes from brand new people. So we have to always remember to go back to the basics. In network marketing, let me repeat it one more time and we get into some of the things you have to have. You want an army of people doing a few simple things over a consistent period of time. But to be honest with you, there's 3 things you have to have, and I want to give you some tips on this too. Number 1, you have to be coachable. Here's what they say. Yes, I'm coachable. But what they mean, and if you're not coachable, you definitely want to disconnect from this Periscope, because I'm not doing you any favors by saying it's okay to believe what you normally believe, because if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting what we're getting. The definition of insanity is doing what we've always done and expecting things to change. So to get something different, we have to do something different. So you have to be coachable. And so I'm going to spank some people on this Periscope. It's a spankoscope. All right, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, even if it's not what you want to hear. Because to get something different, you got to do something different. All right, so Regina liked the spankoscope. The number 2, you have to be willing to work. It is network marketing. It is not net play marketing. It is not net win the lottery marketing. You have to pay the price. But you're like me. If you're on this Periscope right now, congratulations, because you don't mind paying the price. I don't mind paying the price if the promise is clear. So you have to be willing to put in that work. Number 3, you have to have desire. You have to have desire. What creates desire? Knowing why you're in your business. It's not the money. You have to put an emotional attachment to the money. What is the money going to do for you? Is it to put your kids in a private school? Is it to retire your spouse? Is it to, change neighborhoods? Go to a different, is anybody else losing connection, or is everyone good? It may be your connection, because I think we're good. So think about why. The clearer the picture of your future, the more goal-directed your actions, thanks everybody, the more goal-directed your actions are on a daily basis. You have to see it here before you ever see it there. So you want to have a crystal clear picture. Your why are you doing the business, eventually needs to be big enough to make you cry. So at first, for me, it was, hey, I would love to be able to write a check without having to balance a checkbook. I would love to be able to go into a restaurant. How nice would it be to go into a restaurant and not have to read the menu right to left? I don't know if anybody else has ever done that. You go, what does this stuff cost? Okay, I will take the peanuts and I will take the bread. That's what I will take. You know, I will say I want to be able to go in a restaurant and read the menu left to right. You figure out what you want to eat, then you just order it. I said I would love to be able to go to the ATM and not have to get spiritual with the ATM. Please, God, let there be money in my account, because I never crossed my mind that you have to take your money out in $20 increments until I have less than $20 in my bank account. So know why you're in the business. Because when things get tough, and they're going to get tough, that's when that helps you stay strong enough, long enough. When you go back to that, well, my daughter, I'll tell you a quick story, and make sure you write down the stories, because stories sell, facts tell. When we went to bed as a child, our parents told us bedtime stories, not bedtime facts. So you want to make sure you're sharing stories, even if they're not your stories. It's okay. So back 15 years ago, 17 years ago, I was going through my little girl's piggy bank. It was a big Coca-Cola plastic piggy bank. We found it. We have it in another room. It's taped up. It's falling apart. But we were starting to put change in that piggy bank. And we said, someday we'll go to Disney World. Someday. What I found is that some people's some days are other people's every days. A someday leads to a town called nowhere. And so one day she walks in, we're sitting there going, through the change on the floor just to get enough to try to get milk and groceries, something to eat. She runs in, sees mommy and daddy taking her money that we promised her we would save for Disney World. And every time I felt like quitting, which was every single day, I used to want to quit 100 times a day. I think I'm down to about 5 now, 2 to 5. And so I remember I would rewind that back through my mind and go, you know what? I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I've had it. And then I put on my wall, I still had the little 3x5 card that said, I will until. I will until. And then somebody said, Darin, success is buried right underneath frustration. And I says, well, I have to be close because I can't get any more frustrated. And then I said, everybody else could quit on their family. I refuse to quit on mine. And so you have to know why you're in the business. Those 3 things, and congratulations, you have all 3 of those things if you're on this Periscope. And some of you right now, if you're like me when I first got in the industry, you're like, Darin, hey, shut up about that stuff. Get to the how-tos. That's not what you want to do. Because what I've learned from my experience, Jeff Olson, the millionaire maker, said it's not the how-tos, it's how you do the how-tos. Now, what does that mean? He means that it's not the how-tos, it's your philosophy and your attitude when you do that same thing. So there's people that do the how-tos I'm going to share with you, but they have a bad attitude, they have negative energy, they're not passionate, whatever it is. Their music is not good when they're talking to people. And this person does the same thing. That person does the same thing. One has results, one does not. It's because of what I'm sharing with you. If I don't get your mindset right, which is 80 to 90% of it, 80% attitude, 10 to 20% skills. That should make all of you extremely happy because it made me extremely happy. So if you like what you're hearing, because we've had so many more people come on this Periscope, swipe to the right if you have an iPhone. Share with all your Periscope followers. Swipe down if you have a Droid. Okay, share with all your followers. Make sure that you're tapping the screen. Okay, giving hearts. And then we're going to go ahead and get into the training here. So those 3 things. Another thing, being real with you, is that it's an emotional roller coaster. Here's the downside of network marketing. Thank you for sharing, by the way. The downside of network marketing. My wife and I, before the company that I'm in right now that I've been in for a few years, we started opening franchises. Now, the franchise world, the normal rule of thumb is you have to invest 5 times the amount of money that you want to make. 5 times the amount of money that you want to make. So if you want to make $100,000 a year, you need to invest at least $500,000. I can tell you that's not true. We have frozen yogurt franchises. One of them, we're now over $400,000 invested. It's been in business 3.5 years. I just got a call saying they needed $10,000 more, which in the last year and a half, I probably spent another $60,000, $70,000. So 3.5 years later, our partners have been working from morning, 7:30 in the morning until 11:30 at night, 7 days a week. And it's still, most of the time, it's starting to pay the bills. But this month, it's not paying the bills because we're going into winter. We're in winter. And so so we only have a year and a half left on the lease. It's not even looking like we're going to get our money back unless we happen to sell it. But not too many people want to buy a business that's not making a profit. So 2 franchises, $700,000. So the challenge with network marketing is that what's easy to do is easy what? Not to do. How do you get in the business? I'm in. How do you get out? I'm out. It's that simple. So what's easy to do is easy not to do. We lead a voluntary army. What does that mean? It means that most people will not do it. So that the trick is treating it as if we invested $500,000 into our business. If you invested $500,000, how would you take notes? How many times would you watch this replay before it goes out in the next 24 hours? How fast would you open the kit that your company sent you? And would you think about quitting 6 months into it when you go, I'm not rich yet? No, you wouldn't do that. You would be like, oh, no, I'm in it to win it. A to think, can to can't. I am never quitting. I have to make this work. It's everything that our family ever earned. We're in debt several $100,000. I mean, that's the thing. It's treating this as if. The next thing, so it's going to be an emotional roller coaster. You're going to be in the no sleep zone. I'm so jacked out of my mind. The dream machine is turned back on. We're going to be able to buy a new car. We're going to be able to travel the world. I'm going to be able to be a stay-at-home parent. I'm going to have freedom. And then you talk to people you know, love, and care about, and they say, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I knew somebody in that company. It doesn't work. That's like saying, I know people go to the gym and they're still out of shape. Gyms don't work. It's not that gyms don't work. It's people that don't work. So then you're in the self-doubt phase. Well, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe my negative spouse is right. And then somebody calls you back and says, I'm going to make you rich. You're back up. Then they go in the witness protection program. They run from you in the grocery store. They don't answer your calls. They're back down. So it's up, it's down, it's up and down. Tell me anything in life that's not like that. But the way that I look at it is my jobs, which for me stood for Journey of the Broke, they would never have the possibility of giving me the lifestyle that I wanted for my family. That was the challenge. That was the thing with my job. So the beautiful thing about this, you're going to work hard in the beginning and you're going to put so much work in and you're going to look at your paycheck. Now I'm going to show you how to shave a lot of time off your learning curve, but you're going to go, I can't believe I'm working this hard and my paycheck is this small. Are you kidding me? I'd be better off working minimum wage. Minimum wage. That over a period of time, and I should have drawn this out on the board, you're going to put, and normally I draw it out like half a rectangle, and I draw it into 5 years, and I put a line from the top to the bottom, and the first year you're working all this time, very little money. The next year you're working less time, a little more money, and by the 5th year, you have all this money, very little time. But you had to be willing to go through the fire to get to the other side. And the biggest mistake that we make in this industry, and I'm saying we, there's nothing I'm going to talk to you about. I've probably made more mistakes than the several thousand people on this Periscope right now combined. Okay. Hello from Turkey. Thanks for joining us. And so it's learn from my mistakes. But the biggest challenge is being persistent and consistent. Now, some of this training that I'm going to talk to you about, how to recruit 20 people in 30 days, I recruited, I would say, I don't know the exact number, but I know I probably recruited over 1,000 people since I've been in this industry. Over 1,000 people. Thank you, Regina. And if you can recruit one person, you can recruit 1,000 people. Because the same thing I did to recruit number 1, I did it again and did number 2. And I did it again and I did number 3. And it was just like, you ever seen the movie Hitch with Will Smith and Kevin James? And he's trying to teach Kevin James how to date and get this girl. And he goes, he said, well, let me teach you how to dance. And Kevin James like, nah, I got that point. And he shows him all this, fancy stuff he's doing, right? And Will Smith smacked him. And he goes, no, that's not what you do. He goes, this is where you live. Let me see if you can see me. He goes, this is where you live, right here. Right? He said, you don't need to do all that fancy stuff and all the dancing. So in network marketing, it's basics. You do the same basics over and over and over again until they compound. So if you take a car and that car's out of gas and you're trying to push it down out of the highway because cars are coming. So what happens is you're giving it everything that you have. You're working so hard. You're sweating like I am right now, right? My head is shining. You slip, you slide. Finally, you get that car moving. You can take one hand and keep it moving. But what do? We get excited. We get fired up. We're jacked up. We're going to take it to the top. We're like Chihuahuas jacked up on Red Bull. And we push that car. It starts to move. We take our eyes off of the activities, start to focus on the results, and the car comes to a stop. And then we get excited a couple weeks later, and we start pushing again. Finally, the car gets moving. We get distracted. And then what happens is it happens over and over and over again, and you don't push long enough for the multipliers to kick in. So right before this Periscope, I was outside with my little girls, and one of them, she's getting better at the bike, and it still has the training wheel. So I was explaining to her, once you get that momentum going, don't stop, because you have to keep starting over. So you want to be persistent, consistent. And what I'm going to talk to you about now is success loves speed. So that's why I keep telling you, share this. Swipe to the right if you have a Droid, click share, or tap on where you see 1.1 thousand people on the Periscope. Tap on that, click share. Because you want all of your team moving faster, because success loves speed. So a lot of this training, not a lot of it, but a big portion of this training that I'm going to talk to you about today, Eric Worre with Network Marketing Pro did a training, how to recruit 20 people in 30 days. So I went back and I studied that training. I said, okay, what have I experienced myself recruiting over 1,000 people in this industry, making millions of dollars in this industry, building teams to over 100,000 people in this industry. And so what I've done is I'm going to give you what I did, what he researched, and what he found studying 100 people that have making over $1 million a year in this industry. So what I'm going to share with you is not, will it work? I think it'll work. It has personally worked for me and lots of other people. But you are the CEO of You Inc. Y-O-U. You're the CEO of You Inc. I had someone that messaged me on Facebook, and they go, well, you must have brought a bunch of people in from your previous company. I'm like, I couldn't. I was with a company. I had a legal contract. I could not call one person that I worked with for 13 years in that previous company. And I'm not one, because it was a legal company. And so I was like, who am I going to call? Because all my contacts, I've been in that company for 13 years. And they go, and so when I told them, hey, listen, no, I didn't. Well, then after your 2-year non-compete was up, then you probably started calling through your people. That's why you had success. I'm like, if I go through my team right now and I count my mom, not counting my mom, I can think of one person that's on my team that was on my previous team in the last company, and they had recruited one person in several months, I don't think. So then he goes, well, what else did he say? So it was, you bought people over? No. I forget what else he said, but in the end, I didn't even argue with him. I said, hey, listen, I wish you the best, because he was looking for an excuse. The why somebody else had success, he didn't. We can make excuses or we can make money, but we can't make both. So if somebody wants an excuse, any excuse will do. I had a guy giving me all these excuses. He would not listen to me. So finally he said, my wife wants me to quit. This is my previous company. I said, you need to quit. He's like, what? I was like, you don't listen. He goes, well, I can't do this because of this. And I was like, you know what? I almost didn't go to the gym this week and work out. And he goes, why not? I was like, I was completely out of peanut butter. And he goes, Darin, what does peanut butter have to do with going to the gym? And I said, nothing. But one excuse is as good as another one. So I picked peanut butter. Even though it was so silly and so simple, he went back. He was trying to go to a big event. That's what he was giving me excuses on. He sold at a yard sale his children's bedroom furniture. went on to make over $1 million in that company, and over a decade later, he still uses the peanut butter story. So we can make excuses or we can make money, but we can't make both. Successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. We have to take responsibility for our own business. If other people can do it, you can do it. Because we have the same company. If you're at a company with other people that are having success, you have the same company, you have the same systems, you have the same Alex Khan. All right. Welcome, Alex Khan. Hey, by the way, everybody, see Alex that just commented. I have learned so much from Alex Khan. And if you go click, if Alex, you can comment again, follow him because he gives you tips and tricks on how to do a great Periscope. And he actually has over 50 million hearts, over 200,000 followers. And I'm getting ready to spend time with him out in the Periscope Summit coming up in San Francisco. And he's just got a great heart. And, so once again, what did I do with Alex that you're doing with me right now? So I said, man, why would I try to spend all this time trying to figure out what to do on Periscope if I want to make a bigger impact? If I want to go out there and I want to help a bunch of people, because, that was me. I said, I don't want to, thank God somebody looked at me, not as how I was, but how I could be with my God-given potential. So when I said Alex is one of the best in the world at Periscoping, so I started touching base, watching all of his Periscopes, started putting into use what he said on his Periscopes, and my Periscope exploded to over 21,000 followers, trended 5 or 6 times. All right, so yes, one Alex Khan is his what do you call it? Username on Periscope. See, I may not be fast, but I'm slow. But at least I'm consistent. Yes, we're gonna have a blast. All right, so let's get right into. So we're talking about being the CEO of your own company, having accountability with yourself, saying if it's to be, it's up to me. Acting as if you invested several $100,000 in a traditional business. So you have to have the $1 million mindset. Now let's be real. I was coming into this industry just going, I just want to pay my bills. I just want to pay I just want to get groceries. That's all. I want to be able to not have to have that money monkey on my back. Instead of having bills waiting for the money to come in, I want to have stacks of money waiting for the bills to come in. So normally we can see, it's like right now it's dark outside where I live. If you turn on the headlights of your car, you can see a certain distance ahead. Once you get to that distance, you can see that much farther. So by the inch, it's a cinch. By the yard, it's too hard. So if you're going, Darin, I can't see building a team of 100,000 plus people and making millions of dollars in the industry. That's okay, right? It's baby steps. It's like, what about Bob? Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. So let's talk about recruiting. Why is network marketing the best business model on the planet? Well, go look at Robert Kiyosaki. He has a book called Business of the 21st Century. The world is conspiring to do us good because right now they're teaching people to think like an entrepreneur. Look at Shark Tank. How many people watch Shark Tank or The Profit? Or look at eBay and Amazon. People going, hey, I can become my own boss. I can put stuff on there. You have Uber. Thank you, Regina. Yes, Uber. So, hey, I can use my car, make some additional income on the weekends, driving an Uber car. And it's also the new 30-hour work week. So it's important for you to know why you're going to recruit, then how to recruit. So it's a new 30-hour work week where now companies are cutting their hours back to 30 hours so they don't have the benefits. So now they're having to work multiple jobs. People used to say, Darin, I work 5 days a week to live 2. Then they got to the point they go, look, I work 6 days a week to live 1. Now I'm having people say, I don't even live. I'm working every day and there's no end in sight. And let me give you one more thing. It's not just the money, but it's the time freedom. That's why Robert Kiyosaki in the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad says most people teach your kids, go to school, get good grades, and get a good what? Job. Nothing wrong with having a job, but wealthy people teach your children, no, you develop assets that throw off cash, have money work for you. That if you ever want to have the financial freedom and the time freedom, most people look for work. Wealthy people build networks. It's being able to go to the beach and not even worry about when you're coming home. We just went to Disney World. And we're like, we don't really know when we're coming home because we don't have a job. But we had to work hard in the beginning to build assets that threw off cash so our income just didn't depend on us. So recruiting is the number one focus that I have. Yes, you want to work on your customer base. You want to make sure that you're under promoting and let the product over deliver. If you want to be realistic on what to expect when you're talking about your company's services or your products, okay, you definitely want to do that. But for me, I want to develop assets that throw off cash. I don't want to be the number one customer getter in my company. I want to go build a bunch of customer getters, have an army of customer getters, and then create the financial freedom and time freedom and teach them how to do the same thing. So recruiting, 3 things to explode your business in 2016. Your network marketing business. Write them down, please, and do not get them out of order. Make sure they're in order. Number 1, recruit. Number 2, recruit. Number 3, recruit. And don't get them out of order, because new blood is the lifeblood. The billionaire Paul Meyer taught me every organization will grow to maturity, start to level off, and then start to decline. So I want to make sure that I'm doing, and that's where we make the mistake. When I talked about how to recruit 20 people in 30 days, some of you are like, Darin, get to it. The how-tos are going to go through pretty fast. The numbers are going to go through pretty fast. But if you don't have the right mindset, philosophy, if we don't change the filters between your ears, the how-tos are not going to work. So the people that make 6 figures, over $100,000 a year, which, by the way, if you make over $100,000 a year, you're in the top 5% income earners in the entire world. And so when Eric Worre studied 100 people that are making over $1 million a year, and he said, what did they have in common? Well, people that made $100,000 in 1 year, what did a recruiting run, like we're going to talk about, one time? The people that made over $1 million a year, they did it multiple times. I saw my previous company. I went out, did it once in the beginning. I had a buddy of mine. What he did, he acted like he was starting over every single day, just doing the simple things. Several years later, I was making over $100,000 a year. He was making $1.7 million a year. He was making 17 times the amount of money that I was making, because he never got off the elevator. He continued to do this, just like Hitch, right? This is where you live, back and forth. The same thing every single day. So let's talk about how this works. So recruiting, number 1, I've done training with this. Well, let's talk about this. Why would you recruit 20 people in 30 days? You could go out and recruit 1 person a month over 20 months. What's the difference? Well, the difference is success loves speed. You're going to hear Eric Worre talk about some of the same things I'm talking about, but I'm also going to go in a little more depth on a few things, and I'm not going to talk about some of the things that he's talking about here in just a minute. So number 1, why would you do that? It's easier to build your business fast than it is to build your business slow. So with your company right now, what would recruiting 20 people in 30 days, and if you're on the scope, and 99% of you in the network marketing industry, you should be part-time. You shouldn't be full-time right off the gate. Because when you quit your job too soon, and by the way, thank you for continuing to tap your screen and give me all of those hearts and continue to share, because it's going to help everyone. Because you go, why would you recruit 20 people in 30 days? Oh, you're part-time. You should be part-time, because when you quit your job too soon, it puts too much financial pressure on you. It's not fun. People can smell commission on your breath when you're talking to them. And so what you want to do is you want to keep the part-time story. Jim Rohn says there's power in the part-time story. Power in the part-time story. So you go, hey, look, part-time, here's what happened. An extra $500 a month. And it would change most people's life. I saw a study that said, I think it was an extra $300-400 a month would keep most people from filing bankruptcy. Just an extra $300 to $400 a month. Not to count all the tax savings that we have, okay, in building a business. So think about some of the things here. What would it do for you? So if you're part-time, you may go, Darin, I don't really want to work as hard as the numbers you're giving me. Well, what if you recruited 10 people in 30 days? You decide. You can work these numbers however you want to work the numbers. But I'm saying if you want to go all out, you want to explode your business, pick a 30-day window and go for this. Number 1, what would the upfront commissions be for you and your company with your compensation plan? That's number 1. I'm going to talk fast. I have a lot to cover in the next few minutes. Okay, but you can go back and watch this on replay, and you can speed up and you can rewind. So that's the beautiful thing about now they have that. Number one, what were the upfront commissions? What about the other commissions? Are there any bonuses right now that your company has? I know our company has some bonuses. So what would that add up if you recruited 20 people in 30 days? What would be the money you would make over the next 12 months? Number three. So number one was upfront commissions. Number two, other bonuses. Number three, 12-month commission. And you're going, Darin, how would you know that? There's no way to know exactly that, but guesstimate it. Number four, lifetime commissions. When I go back and look, okay, no one, if you ask people, hey, who wants to run a marathon? Most people do not want to run a marathon. But if you go, hey, could you sprint? Because 80% of our training and network marketing is how you bring someone into the business. So if they're looking at you, here's what they're thinking. Can I do what you did? Do I want to do what you did? Do I have time to do what you did? And do I want to do to my friends, family, and neighbors what you just did to me? So if the answer is no, we didn't do something right. That's why we have to keep everything very simple. So later on throughout this week, I'm going to give you trainings on what to say, what not to say, how to use a third-party tool, a magazine, DVD, website to do that for you. But so I've gone back and I've looked. When somebody goes, yeah, I can sprint from my front door to the mailbox. Well, then once you get to the mailbox, can you sprint down the street? Yeah, I can sprint down the street. I can do that. So by the inch, it's a cinch. By the yard, it's too hard. And by the way, for those, normally my periscopes are 20, 30 minutes. Very rarely are they ever as long as this periscope. But this periscope will change your life. And I think it's worth going the extra time to do this. Okay, can I get a thumbs up if you agree? So number four was lifetime earnings. So I've gone back to the point and gone, wow, if I hadn't have gone on that little sprint that I went on, that recruiting run, okay, thank you for the thumbs up, it wouldn't have led to this person, that led to this person, led to this person, that led